Hello guys, welcome welcome all to this beautiful India Qualifiers free-for-all. We're watching ESL One Mumbai 2019 India Qualifiers, as I just mentioned. It's a losers brackets final, and this match determines who gets to play against Signify in the grand final of these brackets, and of course who gets the chance to represent India in their own local land. ROG Titans are fighting against Coming Soon in a best of 3, and the first game does not go too much in their favor as Coming Soon decimate them with a superior draft and superior playstyle, and showcase why they were the second favorites after Signify. Now Coming Soon is looking for that second game, as ROG Titans is looking to tie the score and get a second chance at victory. Let's see what happens next. My name is D Swordfish. I'm here at ESL, so remember to follow us on Twitch, subscribe on YouTube, and like us on Facebook. And I'm here joined by Wingblade Dota for this game today. How are you doing, Wingblade?
Not so well, because I'm not in the lobby.
No. That's not good.
Wait, can you call me on Discord and maybe share your screen?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, there we go. It's not ideal, but it's gonna have to do.
Okay. Well, I realize now. Yeah, I'm sorry. There's a lobby bug right now, so it's really difficult to tell people if I'm coming or not.
I tried to look for the lobby, but it didn't show up for me.
That's really odd. Well, the lobbies are bugged today, so it's not that surprising. Anyway, let's get into the draft. You can see it now. You're in real time, man. You know, real technology. What are we seeing here? ROG Titans with the Coddle, and the Tidehunter is Coming Soon. Go for the Just Prophet and the Viper.
So interesting. Coming Soon first picked the Furion, and ROG Titans completely ignored the Viper. So Coming Soon actually, like, second picked it, which is quite special, because usually you see it either instantly banned out or instantly picked, but it was ignored for two picking phases.
Yeah, it's very surprising. What I'm also surprised about here is that they actually decided to pick the Tidehunter knowing the Viper was in the pool. That's ballsy.
Yeah, Tide generally doesn't have a great time against Viper, because normally he relies on Kraken Shell to just run away from everything, but if you're Viper striked or Viper struck in the Nether Toxin, there is no running away and it doesn't get dispelled, so you just drop extremely fast. On top of that, you don't have damage block anymore, so you're extremely squishy. Yep,
and if this does happen to a late game scenario where Tyner has this kind of late game shine with a Ravage, because you do offer a lot of team fight, Viper goes for the Nether Toxin Silence, and then you are literally useless Nether Toxin. They don't even need to stun you, they just need to Nether Toxin you and you're completely gone. You can't do anything.
Well, I feel like if you're playing a Tidehunter, you put a lot of emphasis on getting an early 5-star against Prophet plus Viper.
Yeah, certainly.
Like, you can buy Hood or you can buy Crimson Guide or whatever, but I feel like a Force is just gonna be so much more useful.
In this game, you could even justify getting a BKB just to prevent the Nether Toxin from screwing you over halfway through.
It's very expensive though. I think you would rather have like Blink Force, maybe even Refresh Eye.
Really? Wow, so go for the full Initiator build as opposed to any sort of a carrier.
Yeah, I feel like... I mean, it could be a mid-tide, it could be a carry tide, but if you're playing offlane tide, I feel like you kind of want to be focused, so buying a BKB is not that useful. You'd rather just buy mitigation, as opposed to immunity. So they have a Coddle too, and Coddle plus Tidehunter is a very strong teamfight combination. You have two insane AoE stuns. Even a Viper is gonna struggle with that amount of disable, and if they get a carry that has naturally built BKB, they should be able to deal with Viper. But their first priority deals with Viper in lane. So, as I mentioned before, Kunkka is one of the heroes, but he's banned. So what's left is Morphling, Rubik, Monkey King, and I feel like I'm forgetting one.
The counters,
oh no, it's Monkey, Morphling, Kunkka, Rubik.
Yeah, Morphling. Okay, the counters to the Viper.
To Viper.
Yeah. I mean, they're all in the, except for the Rubik, they're all in the pool. So I guess you have the option for ROG Titan. There's not It's a difficult draft. Now we see the Titan's going to be offlane or mid. I'm assuming offlane, because like you mentioned, Titan against mid Viper is not too ideal. The PA is the second pick for ROG. Interesting choice, honestly. Relatively early PA. Not bad against the Viper if you get the jump on Viper, but pretty bad if Viper gets a jump on you, because another toss takes away your only survival skill. And
I don't really like this PA pick, because when you're against the Viper Nature's Prophet, you know there is going to be a lot of early pressure. And as a PA, you don't really enjoy being pressured that hard early. Especially when it's by a hero that can also just break you. So not only do you need like a Battle Fury or a Deso, but you also need a beat. Don't deal any damage. Need a lot, but he's not gonna have a lot of space. So they need to somehow pull this early game out of the bag, because if they lose the early game, PA is not gonna have time to recover.
Alright, oh, okay. Seems like there's just a bug in my Dota feed. Now I can't tell who picked what. Lovely. And by extension, I'm assuming you can't tell either.
Yep.
Oh, there it is. Okay, so Jakiro. Hopefully this fixes itself. Sorry guys about this. Dota's been really wonky these days. I think the updates are not doing too well to the spectator experience. I'm assuming that they're still picking in, that reserve time is just bugged, so next pick should fix it, usually what happens. ROG now with a pretty solid team fight potential at the very least. I mean, you have a Will-O-Wisp, Ravage, and even Macropyre to boot for the damage, with the PA with a bit of physical damage. It's pretty good in terms of team fighting potential, but coming soon on a Viper.
Yeah, they have some wombo combo for sure. Yep. And Jakiro is, as I said before, one of the best heroes at dealing with Prophet, especially in lane. And it's also good against Tusk, because Tusk relies a lot on tag team to deal damage. So if your attack speed is extremely slowed, it's hard for you to do a lot of stuff. Also, if you snowball in, it's quite easy to anticipate, and you can just ice path preemptively.
That's very true,
so
actually.
This is a nice hero pick, but I doubt that it's gonna fix all the issues for ROG Titans right now.
Now the Pangolier pick, which is interesting because we haven't seen Pango offlane that often this meta, is very often picked mid with the Guardian Grease build, but still an okay offlaner. The issue is that in a dual lane we've seen that he's not that great at putting pressure. Very useful pick though here. You actually can easily deal with Tide, Cuddle, and Jakiro pretty much, because your Rolling Thunder makes you invulnerable to them, and you become a real threat there. This team kind of relies on control to get you down once their wombo combo is up, and Pangolier omits that, creates chaos, and delays whatever initiation you had. It's pretty good.
I would not mind seeing the Pango be flexible in a way where he can also go mid, because you're completely fine laning a Viper against Tide or a PA.
That's true. That is true.
I feel like if they pick another flexible hero, they can just swap around the lanes at their leisure and win the lanes regardless. Like, it's easy to counter pick one hero, but you cannot fix all your laning issues with one pick for ROG Titans, so they can just coming soon can just lane their heroes wherever they want. Oh, they pick an anti-mage. This is another one of those strange picks where I feel like they have the entire early game going for them, and then they pick an anti-mage.
It's very favored in the Indian region, huh? I must think it's really good.
Maybe they're just nervous or something. That, like, pushing lineups are always a bit scary to do, because if they fail, you lose. But if you do one of those 50-50, we go push, but we also go late lineups, it just feels a bit disjointed. But I'm sure they have some kind of plan that I'm just not seeing. Maybe they're just gonna use the Viper and Pango to create space for the anti-mage as opposed to committing for pushing.
I mean, it is not a bad space creation lineup as far as they're concerned, because this time they do have the lanes, right? So I guess that's what difference was with ROG Titans. If the Shadow Fiend had potentially won the lane, then you would have a really strong or a pretty decent lineup. And coming soon should win the lanes with the Viper Pango. And this Queen of Pain pick, I actually don't mind, because it stops the Pango going mid and the Viper destroying your side lanes. Because you can't lane Pango against Queen.
I mean,
I think that's the idea.
Sacrificing the Quop from the start though, and we spoke about this before. Quop needs to have a winning lane, and if she doesn't, she's just kind of a range creep with a blink. They still have the insane team fight, now with Sonic Wave as well. But you're setting your Queen of Pain up to fill. PA doesn't really destroy a Pangolier so much. And Anti-Mage is one of the better heroes against Tide, so I feel like Coming Soon just has a major edge in the laning stage.
I completely agree.
And if you win the laning stage and you give Anti-Mage space to farm, he's gonna take it. And PA is decent against Anti-Mage, but not when she's 2 or 3 items behind, which I could very well see happen this game.
Yep, entirely. The PA will have to fight and do the contesting of the Battle Fury timing, hoping to get an early Battle Fury as well. Not that easy. The issue as well is the PA before with Anti-Mage, it was a bit better because you had the ability to go for the triple stifling dagger strike, I think it's called, and then you would just play around the Anti-Mage, use your Battle Fury to deal damage to him. Now though, all your spells that actually try to target the Anti-Mage, especially in the early game, can be countered by counterspell and are rather easy to do as well. So it's not that easy to bring him down unless you're superiorly farmed or you go for a Desolator build, for example.
Yeah, it's gonna come down to execution on ROG Titans. They're gonna need to rotate the Quop early, try to secure lanes, but the odds are stacked against them.
To be honest, I don't like this quad pick like you mentioned either. Like I see what they were going for. I see what the quad wants here, but I'm most concerned about the Tidehunter because at first I was saying, okay, the Tidehunter already have a pretty bad mid game because he's gonna have to match up against the Viper and they can crush him. The Pango is also pretty good or amazing against the Tide in general, right? And then you now bring in finally a Anti-Mage in lane, which like you mentioned has a pretty good matchup against him. When is your Tide strong, you know? Is he just a walking Ravage at most? And even then, it's not that great of an ability. So...
I feel like he's a walking Ravage. Like, he's not gonna do much in these lanes.
But that's not how you play Tide these days, right? Like, the beauty in Tide now is how strong the Anchor Smash can be. Even Gush builds we've seen. The walking Ravage build that used to be played is just not that effective anymore.
I mean, his lane is kind of okay, though. He's gonna be up against an Anti-Mage and...
I guess it's
maybe
Coddle.
like a Furion or a Tusk, but both those heroes don't really do much to him, and he has a Coddle, so Tide is the hero in lane at least I'm least worried about.
You're more worried about the... I mean, Quap is definitely going to lose her lane. I don't think there's a way a Quap can beat a Viper, to be honest.
Yep. Especially when Viper puts some early points into Corrosive Skin.
Exactly.
Because normally Quap wins the lane by harassing really hard with the dagger, but that's not a possibility when every dagger hits you back twice.
What do you think is the build here for the Viper?
I think you go 2 points in Corrosive Skin, 2 points in Nanotoxin, maybe 1 point in Poison Attack.
Yeah.
Or maybe you even just need 1 point in Corrosive Skin to dissuade the Quop from even skilling Shadow Strike, just as a fear factor, and go something like 1-3-1 or
yeah,
something like that, or 2-1, something.
The second point in Corrosive Skin used to be a huge value point because it doubles the damage you deal, essentially, and the slow and whatnot. Not as much, but it's okay if Quap is still not a turret by your, I guess, value point like you mentioned. I wouldn't mind seeing like a 1-1-2 like you mentioned originally. We'll see. Divine is a bit of a dangerous play. He's fighting against 3. I don't think he realized that Jakira's up top. He just wanted Jakira. It's like, okay, I can't go here. Can still go for level 1 blink if needed, but would rather have mana break in the lane, obviously. The killing potential of these guys is very, very little. Jakiro, Coddle, Titan, no way you're going to kill at level 1. Unless the Anti-Mage makes a position mistake. And what about bottom lane? How do you see that lane? We have a Pango plus a Tusk. That's actually a pretty decent combo. Tag team triggers with Swashbuckle, so there's that. We haven't seen it because Pango and Tusk weren't relevant around the same time. In fact, Tusk is going to die now, so I take back what I just said. Zap is so close to death, going to the trees, juking best he can, eating 2 tangos. One last Stifling Dagger. ZXZ will get that first blood. And now Pango left alone in lane. Pango is surprisingly weak against this. He really can't stay here. And in the top lane, they do the same thing with Tidehunter. So, support for offlaner, but first blood goes to the enemy carry here in ROG.
I feel like the lane should be fairly even, because both of the teams have some decent kill potential, and both teams actually should not die if they play it properly. Like, you only die if you're somehow out of position, because there is no stuns. There is only like slows and slows can be played around quite easily. So if they play properly, there shouldn't be any kills, but it might very well just go the other way and have like 10 kills on this lane.
Yeah, because
you never know. That's the beauty of Qualifier Team Dota.
Qualifier Team Dota. That term has really grown on you, huh? The the thing though with when you get those kind of qualifier teams but playing against the no stun lineup, so Adrenaline Rush dies in the top lane to fly solo. Actually, it's in the streets, yeah. Is that they actually play much more aggressively because they think, they can't stun me, like I'm pretty safe. And that's when you overcommit and die, right? So there's that kind of double-edged sword, psychologically speaking. Is there another guy controlling the camera here? No, okay. I realize you don't have a camera movement, so I guess I have to show you my items myself, yeah. And how's this mid lane going for now? Viper, not level 3 yet, but Quap is actually winning this lane ever so slightly.
Quap has pretty good damage, so... Yeah. Like, she's not skilling Shadow Strike, so the lane is not as bad as it would be if she did skill Shadow Strike. But Viper is eventually gonna win anyway, because Nether Toxin is a pretty good spell.
Really? You think? I think it's overrated. It's like, what, 600 damage?
Hero seems pretty strong.
Maybe they should ban it. A lot of people should pick him. Maybe first ban. Well, I mean, this is actually the 3rd pick, or 4th pick, so I guess these teams don't really value that as much. Zap has a snowball here in the bottom lane. Not common to go snowball tag team. It's more of a defensive build here, just because you're going to want to evade the damage, and you're still unable to win. And this is the difficulty in Pango super early on, and while you run him in the middle lane. You kind of need the experience, and it kind of sucks when you don't really help your teammate at all. And if they harass your support, you just stay there. You can deal some damage, but it's okay at best. Your right-clicking is pretty bad, and you're just kind of surviving, but your support keeps dying on you.
This Jakiro is really doing work here. He
He's
keeps throwing the Tusk to a crawl, and Tusk can't really run away, and level 1 tag team Shvuko Buckle is not really that strong.
We also have the the level 1 tag team with the slow is just horrendous. So that's a big thing they're relying on. You're not getting the swashbuckle just yet either, because you need the team level 2 to actually deal some damage. Tag team though in the top lane still pretty effective. They killed her and rush just with that. Now the snowball going for Hunter. No ice shards though, which is the best ability against this tide. And very nice anchor smash. And comes to the anti-mage trying to secure this kill. One more hit by Fly Solo will actually secure it. Good job. The anchor smash just got dispelled on him, or just ran out on him. So he managed to get the kill.
This kid is struggling so much, and only because he doesn't have Kraken Shell. So what normally happens when you're playing Tide against Furion is that you just have Kraken Shell and Anchor Smash, so the treants don't really hurt you. But because he went for the 1-0-2 build, he can actually get harassed out of lane by the treants, which is not something that should happen by design. Of course, he does have the pressure on the anti-mage with the gush into Anchor Smash, but he's so vulnerable, and it's showing here.
And even with this pressure, the anti-mage obviously went through all his healing, so the pressure is sort of working, but as the lane goes, first of all, his counter spell is a great way to counter the gush, and you're also going to be lacking that mana to really do these kind of spells. So you essentially have one completely dead spell in the form of gush, whereas Anchor Smash has low enough of a mana threshold that you can actually use it constantly. The gush, you can maybe use it once or twice, get the harassment off, that's it. There's your mana gone. The Kato can give you Chakra Magic for Anchor Smash. It's definitely not wasting it on a Gush. I agree. I think this build is a very erroneous build. Zap. Very nice high shards actually. Putting himself up to the high ground and blocking the path as well. As Anti-Mage steals the enemy rune. Complete loss of time there. The bottom lane though, they do manage to get a kill to Fly Solo completely alone, which means dominating straight the way of ZXC, who is actually winning this lane by a lot. This PA is doing a really good job of stabilizing the game in her favor. So she might actually beat the Anti-Mage in terms of form.
I did not expect this PA to have such a good time, but it really helps to get those few early kills. Like, the Tusk messed up a few times, and as a result, the PA actually has a game right now. She is starting to snowball, which is really scary.
On top lane, we're seeing our rotation by Fly Solo, hoping to maybe kill Adrenaline and Rush. They sprout him. It's really hard to body block a Caudle. He's lean. Oh, no need to body block him. He's lean and also very fast. But if you just get him with a Sprout and Anti-Mage just hits him once, there it is. Anti-Mage is getting a decent amount of farm this time, much better than last game, so he's going to have a more impactful game. The question is, can PA shut him down before he does get that Battle Fury? And we'll see. The PA is pretty strong against Anti-Mage if you do get a nice start. So
Viper started to farm jungle. At this point, I expect him to overtake the net worth within a few minutes because he just farms so incredibly fast.
The different, or the benefit, I guess, here is that, oh, careful RR? No. The Queen Dependent at least is left alone in lane, right? So she at least get to farm up somewhat. Adrenaline Rush in the top lane though, Illuminate doesn't really deal much damage, there's the tag team constantly being, oh, annoying, but not enough to kill a Tidehunter.
I feel like Koddle should buy Quelling Blade, because this is the second time he dies to a Sprout. It seems silly, but it's just 200 gold and it would have saved him twice.
Okay, they catch a Tide, but they don't get any extra people in the snowball. Kind of dumb there, because they could have kind of better positioning. However, tag team is ready to destroy this Tide. Even with mana voiding comes the co-op. Nice rotation! Cleans up the house with 2 people dead. And Flysoul, the next target, he realized he was going to die to this co-op if he just stayed there. Had to use the magic state for TPing. Instead TPs with his own ability. And barely makes it. 1 hit away from death. Wow. That's a really good rotation by the co-op, actually.
Yep. Anti-Mage was like, hey guys, I have my ulti, so Tide is dead, and Quop was like, that's nice.
and the beauty of this rotation as well is that it actually took advantage of the fact that he was laying against a Viper. Because he's up against a Viper, you don't need 2 points of Shadow Strike, or even 3, right? You'd rather max Scream of Pain for the mid game, and that was very, very crucial here in getting those 2 kills. Good job.
Yep. Yeah, they didn't see this coming on the dial. They didn't expect a rotation at all, because when you're playing Viper against the Quop, you're like, oh, this Quop is not that strong, it's fine, but she just TP'd in and showed why Sonic Wave is such a dangerous ulti. You can have all the magic resistance in the world on anti-mage, but it's still gonna hit like a truck.
Oh, that was a Quop just taking down Zap rather easily. Ato's finally on this Viper, which means he now has a tool against the Quop though. But she's out farming him for now. Quop getting those kills, saying, I don't care how fast you can farm, man, I can farm your heroes. And he's taking down the supports quite swiftly. That anti-mage skill also gave her a lot. And she actually goes for a magic stick to take advantage of the spam of Nether Toxin.
We spoke about the PA being scary when she got kills and started snowballing. The same is true for Quop. Because if you look at the Dire lineup, there is not that much pick-off potential. So Quop should be able to move on the map quite freely if she gets a good start. Like, I was worried because I expected a pushing lineup, and Quop doesn't really do much against that, and neither does PA, but because of this anti-mage pick, they have a lot of space to do stuff. Yeah.
And that early game damage from the Quop and PA, which was exactly what was missing last game from ROG Titans, right? They don't have many stuns this time, only with the Chikiro, but this time they have the burst to actually bring down the anti-mage easily. Oh, catch the Chikiro in the bottom lane though. Chikiro completely alone and killed off. They even use a Sprout for extra vision to see that nobody was TPing in, and they'll take down this tower in the bottom lane, but at the expense of a potential anti-mage on top. Interesting, they leave the anti-mage alone of all things. This is not really creating space for him because there's 2 heroes in his lane right now and nobody's TPing to help. So Divine is sacrificing a bit of his farm and PA is kind of getting ahead, using the jungle to her advantage.
I feel like AM is pretty much fine against Tide Coddle though. Like, obviously it's not the best to have 2 heroes in your lane, but they don't pressure you that hard because they don't have that much physical damage. If you're playing Smite, you shouldn't be able to get hit by the Anchor Smash, the Gush is magical, the Illuminate is magical, so you can just mostly CS on the tower because both of those heroes push lanes.
ZXZ gets another quick kill against the Tusk. Honestly, these small kills on the supports is just... Especially for the PA, just get a quick crit, hoping that the slow is strong enough and you just kill. It's pretty easy for the PA, honestly. And that is also part of the reason why you used to go for like the desolate build very often.
I would try to organize a gank with the Viper and the Pongo to try and kill this PA. The Quop is scary, but I feel like a snowballing PA is even scarier than a Quop. Because I mentioned this a lot, but a Quop with 6 items still probably dies in 1 stun.
Unless one of those items is an Aeon disc, right? Think smart.
True.
Genius. But you're totally right. The PA, especially against the anti-mage, she presents a lot more of a threat than the Quop. Oh, the Quop though, caught by the Atos and killed off. Not the best positioning here, and this is exactly what you're talking about, right? Rolling in with the Viper and the Pango. Very good rolling thunder here as well by RR. Fantastic, actually. With a swashbuckle, hoping to finish off the Viper. He still has a level 2 shield crash. Doesn't need it because Nature's Prophet comes in to secure this kill. The 2 Filipinos from this team played really well there. Yeah, that worked really nicely. So that, well, I mean, that's what you said, right?
So just one disable on Quop, and down she goes.
The Pango played perfectly there, honestly. I was about to talk about how Pango was not rotating despite having his level 6, but with his Javelin now he actually deals a fair amount of damage, and he takes advantage of this by taking a quick tower. It's not a pushing lineup, but they're still pushing to give some space to AM.
The way they go through a rotation and transition it into a tower. Because getting 3 kills is nice, but getting a tower on top of it also gives you map control, which makes it great.
Exactly. Okay, RR get cut off though in the top lane, unfortunately. He dies as A35 himself. Also gets killed off in the middle lane against the Viper. And now we see a... Oh, no, that's Nature's Prophet. He should be fine, I think, yeah. He's gonna actually steal the Arcane Rune, or... oh, he thinks twice about it. He's considering where to fly up to. And the Connell finds him. It's like, what? What? Nature's Prophet just in my woods. Okay. He finds the Quap. This could be a man fight. There's a 4-man rotation as well with a snowball for the Caudal here. So Nature's Prophet might just be sacrificing himself to create some space. Nice. TP's in the middle of the Quap. Sorry, in the face of the Quap. And is not deterred by her potential fear. In fact, she wasted her blink. That's an offensive blink. They could punish that, but they don't have anything to punish it. Rolling Thunder comes in finally. Can he get the double stun? Yes, he does. He's actually stuck in the rut. The triple stun, though, does not come out. And unfortunately, they can't finish off the Squap. In comes the Tide. He has a Ravage ready. This is super dangerous. Pango get caught by the Ravage and 2 other heroes as well. Like 3, because the AM just TP'd in. But it's a Tide for free, who sacrificed himself for the enemy offlaner. Nothing he can do against this AM. Mana Void to finish him off. Meanwhile, Fly Solo fights his mortal enemy in ROG. And he realizes that he can't beat this Nature's Prophet Sprout for the vision, but they don't have Mana Void to cancel his TP, so he can just walk away, or TP away rather, safely.
I feel like you're okay with that if you're the Dire, because they used Ravage.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very good way.
Evenly, and they use Ravage, it's all okay.
I mean, I guess you lost your... Yeah, you trade evenly because you lost your offlaner for offlaner. I don't know why in my mind Pango seems more important than Tide, just because I find Tide to be useless this match, but...
Poor Tide.
It's not his fault, it's not the player's fault, it's just that I don't think the pick was ideal. I would never pick a Tide second pick, if I'm honest with you, in this meta right now.
It's
without banning Viper, also.
For sure. Can't say I've seen a lot of it. But in this game, it's not, like, terrible so far. He had a decent lane against Anti-Mage, he's on par with the Pango, and I love Pango, but I feel like Tide is one of the scariest late game heroes. Then again, so is Pango, so...
You mean offlaners, right? Yeah. Or just heroes as a whole?
Heroes as a whole.
You mean because of the talent? Is that why you think Tide is so scary? The Anchor Smash plus talent?
I feel like just the threat of a Ravage is so strong, and not being able to get stunned and chain stunned in the late game.
That's a very good point.
Then again, they are against the Viper.
Yeah, so... And Nether Toxin Silence is one of the best talents in the game as well. It's pretty fantastic. Especially against a Quap, actually. You were talking about like 1 stun, you know? The Quap is essentially forced to go for BKB later on this game.
Yep. And that's why I'm never really a big fan of the Yule's build. I feel like it's pretty decent this game, because you're against the Furion, you want to have a way to cancel a TP, you want a way to cancel the Rod of Athos on yourself, but it just slows down your farm so much and you still need a BKB. So in games like these, I really like building a Midas before Yule's, which basically guarantees that you're gonna scale well. Because we saw the Quap doing really well early, but now she's fallen behind the Viper, fallen behind the Anti-Mage. And she's slowing down a little bit, and that's a result of her item build.
Yes, partially the issue is that you have to constantly get killed. Oh, they actually do get a kill though here on RR, nice. But the issue here is that you have to constantly get kills on Quap if you do go for this kind of like team fighting, very cheap item builds. And against a Viper, even an AM to some degree, is a bit difficult to do. You don't have any catch for the AM either, so Orchid maybe could have solved that. We'll see the top tower fall though in favor of the Quap. That's a bit more gold to her name, as Moon does the same thing with the middle lane. It's a I wouldn't say that this trade actually favors coming soon a bit, just because the mid tower is so important for the map control here.
Yeah, mid tower is always one of the best towers, because it opens some jungle entrances.
It's the only tier 1 tower that you're like, yeah, you can take whenever, you know, it's just whenever possible. Whereas other tier 1s you're mentioning, sometimes you give more space to the enemy carry. Moon is very close to his Guardian Graves as well, which is actually going to make a bit of a difference. They could actually go for the pushing line full on. He does still go for the Guardian Graves despite being with an anti-mage, but his anti-mage is doing much better. He has double Wraith Bands, Treads, and now the Battle Fury as well, minute 16. That's a well-farmed anti-mage. PA, also Battle Fury, can now go for this later.
And the anti-mage is only really scared of the PA. He's quite good against all other heroes on this Radiant lineup.
Okay, Zap sacrificing himself. I think the Ice Path and catching out of the Snowball, like you mentioned in the drafting phase. Nice Ice Shards though, actually wasting a lot of time, and Zap might just survive this. Pango comes in with the Rolling Thunder ready. Blur already committed here. Zap considering if to help his teammates or not. And ZXC goes onto the Furion. Can they catch him again? Yes, they do. Rolling Thunder, third hit. They don't get it. But the Rod of Athos is here, ready to stop this PA with the break. There's no way she survived this. And Zap, proud with his contribution of being a punching bag, will now join his team in this onslaught.
Like we spoke about it yesterday, but
we did.
Are pretty good.
You mean the position 4 as well? We spoke about the general role of the position 4 as being like kind of a tank, soak up as much damage as you can, or waste the time with the enemy team, right? And that's all you have to do sometimes.
As a result, he survived.
Yeah. That's Bracer. That's Bracer when they change Walrus Punch. Ridiculous amount of damage with the tag team still. They actually force a Ravage just for the tusk. They catch the Viper just barely, and that's a much better kill. And goes to Qualifier. Solo's ready though. He could fight this. Sprout, awkward because he wasn't really sure if it was initiating or not. Instead decides to deward. Moon's pretty keen on initiating. Goes for the Tide. Tide almost dies to Moon. As you said earlier, the Kraken Shell being taken away by the Nether Toxin just makes you so squishy.
Yeah, it's not your favorite thing as a watermelon to get Nether Toxin on. But we see, because of this PA kill and the anti-mage getting kills, he's almost leading by 2k now. Like, this is really, really scary. This anti-mage is finding his footing in this game.
Yep. Compared to last game, right? Like, it's really interesting to draw parallels to the anti-mage we saw being completely decimated last game. This one doing much better, getting a Yasha pretty good timing, actually. And now he's in a snowball.
The map is so open, too. How do they catch this anti-mage?
Yeah, in fact, the guys proposing kills are coming soon, going in the bottom lane with this Pango and the Tusk as well. Will-O-Wisp wasted completely. Hunter dying to the Pango, unable to do much against this hero. And the Will-O-Wisp is going to fall soon as well, as the Coddle died as he put it down. Seems like coming soon of complete control right now. And this is what's the scariest possible scenario where you're playing against a 4 protect 1 lineup, which is that the 4 beat your 5. And you just let the anti-mage a limitless amount of farm and space.
Yep, and we saw the Will-O-Wisp coming out, and it just wasn't that effective because not all of the team was there. It was more of a defensive Will-O-Wisp, and now they're kind of out of abilities to defend this high ground. There is a Meteor Hammer coming out, Viper is just gonna sit in front and hit the tower, and how do they stop this? Because PA can't really jump in, because as I said, she doesn't have a BKB, so she doesn't really have the damage.
No.
She's gonna get disarmed.
Oh, interesting, ZXC.
Nether Toxin.
Can they catch her? There's no creeps around. They could punish this. Divine comes in, hoping to kill the PA. Difficult matchup. You can still evade all those stifling daggers. Divine still going for the blink. ZXC plays with the jungle trees. Nice. They have no way of cancelling this. Oh, they do. Never mind. The Mono Void was available. So ZXC in trouble now against 3. He's going to pay for his sins. And that's Divine asserting his dominance as the better carry. However, in the top lane, we also see Viper and Pango together with Nature's Prophet fighting alone against 3. Can they win this fight? A nice Ice Path Macropire. Song of Ice and Fire here, screwing over those cores, but destroying them as Pango in the backlines together with Moon, killing off Hunter. And these two cores make short work of essentially the whole ROG team. The power of the Viper.
It's a 5-0.
Yeah, it's a 5-4-0. It's a team wipe, and more importantly, it's a team wipe that's actually getting divided, where they fought a 3 versus 4 matchup up top, and they won.
Yeah, they popped everything on this Viper, and he just laughed and healed through it with his Guardian Greaves. Yeah. Now he's even tankier with the Hood. How do you kill this snake?
You don't. Man, this Snake is unbeatable. They actually go for the Connell again. Snowball will catch him, and Tusk just finishing him off. He sells the Water Sponge ready for the Chikiro, but they're not concerned about him. Zap instead put himself in danger, and he might die as a result. Another Toxin to turn them away. Zap barely surviving, finally killed off by the Quap. They try to kill the Courier, and without his team, Coming Soon doesn't look so strong. The Viper's pretty powerful, but not alone. The Pango's only behind. Swashbuckle for this Tide. They do stop him with the run of Atos. Nice usage of the break there. He can't dispel us away. A second another Toxin. Too much damage out of his crowd, catching him in. And the Tide is gone. Unable to do anything in this team fight. Quap similarly just walks in, meets the anti-mage, walks away. Jakir from behind gets the Macropyre off, but they can just evade it. Only the Creeps die here, and the Catapult is tanking this pretty nicely. Thank God they had a Catapult here. And Moon continues to push. Not the best pushing power in the world, but if you can stay here forever, then it's not a big deal. Boone says, this is my base now, this is my Rex, I'm gonna take him down. Because my name's Moon.
And it started so well for ROG Titans. But now it's, I can see 15 or 16k lead. And you see this Quap being so far behind, we see this Tide being so far behind. But the biggest difference in net worth here is between the supports.
Yeah. The supports here, comparing the Nature's Prophet and the Coddle, for example, which are the position 4 per se, right? 4,000 different. I mean, even the Tide is below the Nature's Prophet. He's doing really well.
And I love this build on Prophet too.
Meteor
you have
Hammer?
the Medallion for the support and the Roche taking, and you have the Meteor Hammer for just the straight up pushing power.
Yep. And the occasional shenanigans like these. Flysoul was actually wasting a lot of their time, and now they're set up for a potential kill. Double damage Pango comes in. ZXC maybe the target. Pango has a Diffusal Blade as well. ZXC forced to Phantom Strike away, but they already killed the Tide. No more Ravage for you. And behind is a PA who had to help his teammate, but couldn't do it. And instead, killed off easily. Moon comes in, wants to kill his flying enemy. Gets him in time. And Coming Soon, clearly killing this Will-O-Wisp easily. And now going for another lane of Rex. Nothing to stop him, really. Okay, the
so
Meteor
for
Hammer.
anyone watching, I feel like there is a big lesson to take away from this game.
Ban Viper.
Please ban Viper.
Okay. Would you say...
We saw the Quap did so well in the laning stage, but Viper just farms jungle and is suddenly the strongest hero on the map. And his itemization fits so well with the timings of this current patch. Like you have the pickoff with Atos, and then the moment you start getting some momentum, you also have the Grief, so you can start taking buildings. And this should be Megas, because I don't see how ROG Titans can defend this.
Well, it's a good Ravage, but honestly, what's the follow-up? Sonic Wave already here. Okay, that's not bad. They kill Nature's Prophet at least. Macropyre also used here, but they already lost CXC. And Divine, completely ignored them this whole engagement as they now go for the Titan, opening up this melon, or this watermelon. ROG doesn't even want to participate here. He just blinks away. He's like, I'm out of this base. Good luck further, they say. ROG give up, give the game to Coming Soon. Previously known as Reckoning Esports, the only Indian team to have international teammates, I guess, yeah, international participants, players, which are from Philippines. It's going to be Flysoul and RR. They bring the pride back to India. They're hoping to take these finals as well against Signify. Let's see if they'll be able to do that. That game will be tomorrow, though, as Coming Soon can take the 2-0 against ROG and sentence the matches for today. Wingblade, what can you tell me about this game? I mean, give me some last words, some closing words for this matchup.
Ban Viper? No, I feel like Coming Soon just overall, they played really well. Their rotations were on point. They had a few hiccups early game, like the Tusk gave some kills to the PA, which made it a little bit scary, but ultimately they just had a good game plan and executed it properly.
Yeah, I agree. Coming Soon, congratulations, very deserved win. I think Coming Soon and Signify were probably the two teams were watching these qualifiers. We thought, these guys, you know, they really have something. The ROG did show a pretty good prowess against LXG, but kind of crumbled against the pressure of facing the best Indian teams. And now the two best Indian teams will face tomorrow in a best of 5. If you guys want to watch that game, feel free to follow us on ESL, or like us on Facebook ESL, or subscribe on YouTube ESL. And that way you can see when we are online with the next game and the last game of the Indian qualifiers. Remember, these qualifiers are for the ESL One Mumbai 2019 LAN, which will be one of the first major, or the first major LAN for Dota 2 in India. Very exciting time to be alive, especially if you're an Indian Dota 2 player. And here, from a Dutch and a Spanish person, we really appreciate a new scene growing. The game is over, so we're gonna say goodbye as well. Enjoy some ads before we close the stream. It's been a pleasure. My name's been D Swordfish. I've been here with Wayne Played Dota, and we'll see you guys tomorrow with the last games of the day. Until then, guys.